I'm Carol Burnett, and I've got a secret.
I've Got a Secret, brought to you tonight by General Foods, making the Dream Whip. The whip topping with country fresh flavor from General Foods.
Hi, I brought the napkins.
Good. Everything okay?
Mm-hmm. Coffee ready?
Making it now.
You're kidding. Instant coffee for the Bridge Club?
Not any instant. Maxwell House. You make it by the pot. Recipe's on the jar. The only one I dare serve my guests.
Well, it's your party. Harriet, they raved about the coffee. Of course, I knew they would.
Instant Maxwell House, the one instant coffee good enough to serve your guests.
From New York, here is I've Got a Secret, starring Steve Allen.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Howdy. Well, we got a lot of show tonight, so we're going to get right to it. First, we'll meet the members of our panel, who are, of course, lovely Betsy Palmer.
Good evening.
And lovely Bill Cullen. And next, lovely Bess Meyerson, who did a great job as co-MC on the Miss America pageant. Bess, you looked beautiful enough to win the title yourself.
Thank you.
And, of course, lovely Henry Morgan. As they always say on these programs, are you all set to play the game, panel?
Yeah, oh boy.
Well, you're not. How do you like that? Because before you can play the game, you have to put on blindfolds.
Oh.
Is that sneaky?
Gracious.
Blindfolds all in place?
No.
All right. In that case, just a moment. There we go. We'll now bring in our first contestant. Nice to have you with us, sir. Now, for the moment, panel, we're going to refer to this gentleman. We'll keep him shrouded in mystery. We'll refer to him as Mr. X. So, Mr. X, if you'll whisper your secret to me, we'll let the folks at home know what's going on. Wow. The clue concerns something that Mr. X did, and we'll begin the game this time with Betsy Palmer.
All right. Mr. X, what you did, was this spoken of in the newspaper?
Yes.
Did you do this by yourself?
Yes.
Are you from the Midwest?
Yes.
Oh, that's not fair. You only let me
Buzzer, saved by the buzzer. $20 down and 60 to go. Bill Cullen?
Steve, I'll have to disqualify myself on this one, I'm afraid.
Don't be afraid, Bill.
Well, no, because the way they rang the buzzer, I don't think they want us to get it.
And you think your ESP is picking it up too, huh?
All right. Are you also, sir, employed? Yes. May I ask this question, Steve?
Certainly, Bill.
Good. Are you also employed, sir, by a newspaper?
Yes.
$40 down. Who'll pick it up?
Sir, were you for a long time without your wife and daughter?
Yes.
Well, Henry.
Sir, this is just a wild guess, but are you a copy reader by trade?
Yes.
I see.
And now we go to Dorothy Kilgallen. No, I'll tell you the truth. You know who it is. This is the captain and the crew of the Tinkerbell, Mr. Robert Neil Manley. Well, Mr. Manry, in terms of what you did, the simple saying of congratulations doesn't really seem equal to the occasion. We're very honored indeed to have such a brave man, and I've got a secret. The first question I must ask you, of course, is why? What made you try a voyage like this?
Well, Steve, I suppose I'd have to lie on a psychoanalyst's couch to really answer that question.
Yeah, but if you did, the couch would be bigger than the boat you were on, you know. Very tiny little thing, really.
Well, ever since I was in high school and I heard another small boat voyager speak of his voyage, I've wanted to do something similar.
I see. Exactly what kind of a boat is it, besides being a small one?
Well, it's what they call a white cap. It's a class boat, and it's about 30 years old, or most of it is.
And how long?
13 and a half feet.
13 and a half feet.
Very
It's practically a canoe with a sail. Well, it doesn't sound like much of a boat, but when you see it, folks, you'll see that it doesn't look like much of a boat either. And we happen to have not only the captain, but we have the boat right on the stage. So let's get over here and look at it. It's really something.
That's exciting.
It's not that the feat itself isn't remarkable enough, but looking at this thing, it's all the more remarkable, isn't it, panel?
Yes, certainly is.
Fantastic. Now, I understand that you built part of it yourself. What was that part?
Well, from the deck up, you might say, is my own work, and the rest is the former 30-year-old boat.
I see. If I were going to do something like this, and I might, you never can tell, I would fill it with old ping-pong balls or something. Did you do anything like that so it couldn't sink?
That's a very good idea, Steve, but I use something called polyethylene. It's a flotation material.
I thought you were alone on the boat. Oh, I see what you mean. What provisions did you take along, and did they last you for those 78 days?
Yes, I took 90 days' worth of provisions, and I had enough left for about another month. And, well, I had all the kinds of food you can find in a grocery store, and 2 plum puddings. And for music with my meals, I took along a harmonica.
I can figure the harmonica, but why the plum puddings?
Well, I decided I want to eat 1 plum pudding at the halfway mark. It's sort of a celebration.
I see. That sounds rather adventurous. The whole thing does, of course. I'm going to turn the boat around now because we have a camera shot I think we can set up. If we do that, I want everyone at home to see how tiny this cabin is. The whole boat, as you've already been told, about 13.5 feet. And I think if you could sort of look right into it, is that enough of an angle for the camera there? It's just a remarkable thing. Now, I don't see where there's room to sleep here, but you obviously must have slept. Where did you do that?
Well, Steve, I started sleeping in the cockpit because I wasn't sure whether the boat would stay upright, and I didn't want to be caught in the cabin if it turned over.
I see.
But there was a knockdown, and it righted itself, so after that I slept in the cabin.
I see. Were you wearing a lifeline most of the time?
Well, part of the time, and then it got to be kind of a chore, so I stopped wearing it, and I really didn't need it.
I see. Were you ever in actual danger that you were aware of, so to speak?
Well, I got knocked out of the boat about 6 times by waves, but not so far that I couldn't get right back on again.
Did you ever think you were lost? There was word that you were lost for a while.
Well, no, I wasn't lost. I knew where I was all the time, but the RAF, I think, lost me for a while.
The world lost track of it. Well, after sailing this little craft all the way across the Atlantic, I understand that just recently here within the States you had an interesting postscript to your adventure. What was that?
Well, that was one of life's embarrassing moments. I was sailing on Lake Erie, which is my main sailing ground, and another wave got me broadside and knocked me out just the way it happened in the Atlantic, only worse. But I managed to get out of it all right.
Well, that's a funny idea. What are you going to be doing now that you're home, mainly?
Well, I'm working on a book, and the plain dealer has given me a leave of absence to get that done.
Book about your adventures in the trip? I see. Well, we certainly look forward to reading that. Any last-minute questions occur to any of the panelists?
No.
Yes, Betsy.
How did you happen to name it Tinkerbell? Was it from Peter Pan?
Well, I was tinkering with it all the time.
Oh.
And I thought she was a belle.
Really?
And also I like the association with Tinkerpell.
The fairy.
The fairy.
You do have to believe, don't you,
yes,
to
you
take
do
a
have
boat
to
like
believe
that?
to
Yeah.
save the life of Tinkerbell.
That's true. That's very true.
Very interesting and romantic thought again. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mannery. We're all still flabbergasted at what you've done, and we hope you have very good luck in your future adventures, too. Thank you so much. That's really amazing. Well, sir, we'll be back with you again in just a moment, but first, watch this.
If you had a pail, and it was always summer, you could have blueberries for breakfast whenever you wanted. Well, now you can, in new cornflakes and blueberries. Real blueberries, all fresh freeze-dried and right inside the box. A splash of milk and the blueberries get juicy again. Cornflakes and blueberries. Try cornflakes and strawberries, too. Another fruit-in-the-box cereal from Post. Post cereals make breakfast a little bit better.
And now may we have our next contestant, please. Tell us your name, sir, and where you're from.
W.J. Cobb from Augusta, Georgia.
Mr. Cobb from Georgia. Well, I know that Mr. Cobb has a secret, so if you'll whisper to me, sir, we'll show everybody just what we're talking about. Did I hear that right? My goodness. The clue to Mr. Cobb's secret, it concerns something he did, and we'll start the game this time with Bess Meyerson.
Mr. Cobb, did you do this alone?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it done at home?
No, ma'am.
You traveled?
Well, he went someplace other than
Happened
home.
someplace else.
Yeah.
Something that you did. Did it happen to your person? Did it
Yes.
change the way you look?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you, let's see, thinner?
No.
Heavier?
The answer to that last question is yes. $20 down. Henry Morgan?
Mr. Cobb, is this something in the neighborhood?
Yes, Henry.
I'll stay in this neighborhood and you stay in your neighborhood. Well, does your secret read something like, I used to weigh X pounds?
You're on the right track, Henry.
Is it more than X?
Considerably, yes.
Was it something really outrageous, like more than 400?
Yes.
Oh.
You're very easily outraged, Henry. Wait till you hear what it is.
I'm outraged by my own weight. More than 500.
Yes.
Well, from now on, I don't... 6? 7?
Do I hear 8?
I don't want to go on with it.
That's a fantastic...
You once weighed 800 pounds.
More than that.
More than that.
You got it. I don't know which... oh, yes, Bill.
Was that with his clothes on?
I was dripping wet, as we say.
Oh.
Yes. I don't really know which of these two numbers is the more fantastic, but less than 3 years ago, Mr. Cobb weighed 802 pounds, and he took off 570 pounds. Mr. Cobb, people who weigh several hundred pounds usually attribute it to a glandular condition, and maybe they're right. I don't know. What was the reason you think that you were so heavy?
Well, I just had the appetite of 15 men.
Well, the other 14 must be in terrible shape, I'll tell you that. That is true, though. I've heard that, 15 men. How did you go about losing? What was the method you used to lose 570 pounds?
Well, I volunteered at the Medical College of Georgia Clinic Investigation Unit.
Mm-hmm. Did they put you on some kind of a starvation diet?
No, they put me on 1,000 calories, never less than 1,000 calories.
Mm-hmm.
Was experimenting between high protein, high carbohydrate, and high fat.
High protein, high carbohydrate, and high fat. Now, as I guess everybody knows, if you only take in about 1,000 calories a day, even if it's all pure fat, you will lose weight. But which of those 3 diets made you lose the most effectively?
Well, for me, the high protein worked the best.
I see. Do you realize that he lost more than that little boat weighs? How do you like that, Fred? Now, to illustrate just what a fantastic loss that is, we're going to show you Mr. Cobb's belt, at least the one he used to wear when he was considerably heavier than he is now. Now, I'm kind of a large fella. I weigh about 185, and I'm 6'3". But, take a look. That's how the hula hoop was invented, I think. Listen, have you gained any weight since you got out of the clinic?
Yes, I've gained some back, but the doctor seemed to think that would be expected being in the hospital so long.
I see. Yes, Henry.
Mr. Cobb, this diet you were on, does it have any relationship to what is called the drinking man's diet?
No, sir.
Well, that's out.
I understand that when you were in the 800-pound area, you used to work as a wrestler. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I don't imagine they could ever pick you up and throw you out of the ring, could they?
No, not many.
I see. What did you just beat him by sitting on him? And...
That was my best hope, throw him down and sit on.
His best hold, he said. Yes, Bess?
I was just curious to know what Mr. Cobb's professional wrestling name was. Did you have a special one?
Tiny.
Happy Humphrey.
Happy Humphrey.
What was it?
Happy Humphrey.
Happy Humphrey.
Never won, never saw him.
Yes. Are you still wrestling?
No, sir.
What are you doing now?
Working as a shoemaker in Augusta, and I'm studying to be an orthopedic shoemaker.
Orthopedic shoemaker. Well, we admire you for your perseverance. You know, a lot of people, I guess all of us have tried to take off a pound or two, and sometimes it seems to require a lot of willpower, but you showed us all that the job can be done. Best of luck for that and in your new job. Thank you, sir. We'll be back with you again in just a moment, but first of all, Bill Cullen has a guitar-toting friend with him tonight. You going to sing for us, Bill?
Oh, not me, Steve, but Johnny Nash makes up folk songs, so I've asked him to do one about Dream Whip. Now, all I've told John is that it stays fresh in the box and only has 14 calories per tablespoon. All right, Johnny, let's see what you can do with it.
I had a dream the other night of Dream Whip Mountains, so tall and white. I dreamt I ate till I had my fill. Now I'm awake, and I think I will run down to the kitchen, take it off the shelf, make up a bowl full just for myself. 'Cause I love Dream Whip, so easy to store, and so few calories, only 10 plus 4.
Hey, that's right, Johnny. There's a lot more to Dream Whip than just the flavor of whipped cream.
Right, and now, panel, it's time to meet our special guest for the evening. I think she needs no other introduction than just to say, here is Miss Carol Burnett. Well, you look just lovely, Carol. How is your leg? You hurt your leg?
It's coming along fine. The right one looks kind of like olive oil, but I'm building it up.
All right.
I busted it this summer playing softball.
Oh.
But we won.
That's what counts. It isn't how you play the game, it's if you win. That counts, yeah. Now, what's in this folder you brought out with you?
Well, when I busted my foot, I couldn't go swimming or anything out at the beach because my crutches would sink in the sand, so... I started reading murder mysteries, little capsule murder mysteries, the heroine of which was Selena Mead, and I kind of identified with her. And I thought I would bring along some of them to see how quickly the panel can catch on. They're just little capsule things, and the clue to the mystery is in what we say.
I see. Now, the panel's going to play the detective,
Yes.
and what can I do for you?
Well, you're the simple-minded murder suspect.
Typecasting. I see what you're up to.
And I'm the glamorous detective.
Ah, yes. And you have these little dramas written here.
Yes,
We just read them
I
off.
do.
is it?
Oh, here, this is yours. All right?
Okay.
You ready?
Ready.
Now, listen closely because what Steve says will give him away, and we want to see if you can get it. This first case is really very simple. They ought to get it. Oh, I didn't mean it.
We'll miss it.
Yeah. All right. The Prime Minister of Alboslavia was found murdered in his villa on the Riviera. Now, you got it? Number one there.
Oh, yes, there it is. Right.
All right. Now, you were one of his house guests at the time of the murder, and therefore you're a prime suspect. Now, I'll interrogate you and see if the panel can catch the flaw in your story. Sir, what is your name and what do you do?
Alfred Aldrich Rockbilt III. I'm an international playboy.
Of course you are. Mr. Rockbilt, this murder was obviously carefully planned for a long time. Now, can you account for your whereabouts for the past 3 months?
Oh, yes, certainly. In May and June, I was racing my car in the Grand Prix in Paris. In July, I was swimming and skin diving for coral off the Great Barrier Reef in Australia.
Oh, did you find any colorful samples of coral?
Not too much, really. Most of the colorful coral comes from the Mediterranean, you see.
Thank you very much. I hereby accuse you of the murder of the Prime Minister of Alboslavia.
Drat. Now, I shan't confess until the panel figures out what was wrong with my story. You may ask questions, panel. Yes, Henry?
Did you say that, in that marvelous accent, did you say that you're in the Grand Prix in Paris?
I did, yes.
Well, that's sort of odd, isn't it?
No.
Is there a Grand Prix in Paris?
Oh, I
Yes.
hope so.
It's much grander than you think.
Is this the one that they always claim that the Ferraris win?
Do you know any Ferraris?
They're nice people.
There are Ferraris in the bottom of my garden. I know that.
I arrest you again.
Bill has
Well, and the only thing is there's no coral in the Great Barrier Reef.
If there is.
There is.
Well, it ain't pink.
Well,
Well, but
But the coral had nothing to do with the Great Barrier Reef. The Great Barrier Reef, does it have to do with the reef?
You're getting very cold.
But it is not a very cold reef. Really? It's not off of Australia, is it?
Yes.
Knowing our panel's reputation, why don't you just let him go, Carol? Because we aren't going to... In July, if you go in Australia, that's different than up here because that's our winter. Because we're on the other side.
What you don't know is I'm a weirdo and I like to swim in cold weather. Now, that's the right cue.
Very good.
Please.
The second one, a rich international banker and philanthropist was found murdered in his country home. Now, you were one of his weekend guests, and therefore you're a suspect.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, what is your name, and what do you do for a living?
My name is Donnie Brooke, and I'm a musician. And my friends call me Ringo.
Oh, how did you happen to be invited as a guest on this particular weekend?
Well, ma'am, I'm the dead man's third cousin, once removed. In other words, he's my grandfather's cousin's great-grandson.
Oh, well, once you leave here, where can I reach you for further questioning?
Well, I'll be going on the road, but you can reach me through my agent in Nashville. His name is Jones, and the area code is 615, and his number is Quentin 57300.
You did it.
Got me again. You're right, I'm guilty.
Is that it?
Yes, Betsy.
Well, I don't think the area code is 615.
Well, ma'am, you sure wrong, because it sure is.
Wrong? Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Henry has his hand up, but he's scratching his head.
I'm just holding my head, that's all.
I thought you wanted to be excused.
Yes?
Is there an exchange, Quentin, in Nashville, Tennessee?
You're getting kind of warm.
There ain't, but how could you figure that?
Yeah.
Well, I just didn't figure. I figured that since the area code was right, maybe the exchange was wrong.
Why would the exchange be wrong?
Yes,
Oh, there's no Q on the
No
dial.
Pretty good.
Very good.
And there's no Grand Prix in Paris either.
If you skid a lot, there is. I'm sorry.
Number 3, a beautiful actress has been found cruelly murdered in her dressing room. Now, you are an unknown man who was found weeping just outside her door. Will you tell us who you are, sir, and what you do?
My name is William Beaumont, and I am an actor.
You're kidding.
That's right. I am an actor, and I am kidding.
What were you doing in this theater?
Overacting. No, seriously, I had come to see my former love. I hoped for a reconciliation.
Well, how'd you get into the theater?
I came into the stage door, young lady. I slipped past the guard when he was on the phone, and I went right to her dressing room.
Was the beautiful actress alive when you arrived?
Alas, no. She had been cruelly murdered.
When did you first meet?
Well, you see, years ago, we co-starred in the theatrical version of Rebecca. I played Max de Winter, the Lord of Manderley, and she played the title role.
Well, did you appear in anything else together?
Yes, just last summer we appeared in the four-poster.
Well, you goofed again. You did it.
Oh, acted again. Okay, Betsy.
Oh, they've got it.
Well, it could not possibly be the title role because that is Rebecca, and Rebecca is dead when the curtain goes up.
Right. Very good. We have, I guess. Yeah. We have time for one more.
We do?
You're so smart.
Oh, ready? The next case involves a vile murder of a rich Bulgarian financier.
Bulgarian.
Yeah, you got that. You are his nephew and the only heir to his fortune, and you're also the last man known to have seen him alive. And you deny this crime?
Da, I do.
Oh, boy. Then, sir, would you describe this afternoon's events, please?
We were out duck hunting all morning. When we got back to the house, my uncle went into the house and I went to the garage to put away the rifles.
What kind of rifles do you use?
It's a pump-action 12-gauge shotgun.
Well, then what happened?
As I was coming out of the garage, I saw a strange man run up the steps of the front porch. He pulled open the front door and fired 3 shots with a rifle.
Did he go into the house?
No, he stayed on the porch. After he fired the shots, he pushed the front door closed and sped off in a high-speed sports car.
Well, you had it again.
I'm guilty of another stupid accent, I think. Everybody has their hands up. Yes, Henry.
Oh, well, of course, in the first place, there are no wealthy Bulgarians.
That's no longer true.
However, if that's not the answer, it is possible that you can't fire 3 shots from a rifle.
No, you can't.
That's not it. That's it.
Well, I don't... Excuse me, Henry, I'm sorry. Did you have another one?
No, dear, I was just going to cut my throat.
I was going to say that I don't believe a 12-gauge shotgun can be a pump affair.
That one.
It can be.
If you're a Bulgarian, you can do it, yes.
A
Yes,
poor
Bill.
one.
Well, you mentioned that after the man did this, he sped off in a high-speed sports car, which he could not have done because it was in the Grand Prix.
It is not in
Yes,
Paris.
it's in Paris. Calling Q. Not it.
Yes, yes.
The only thing I can think of is something to do with the front door.
Yes.
You're getting there.
Well, only that you said he pushed the front door closed.
Yeah.
He'd have to pull it in order to
That's
close
correct.
it.
Right.
Structurally, you can't, a door opens in on the front door. It has to pull closed and push. Isn't that it?
That's exactly
Yes,
it.
pull open.
Really?
Unless you're very strong.
I was going to say
Well,
no.
Carol, it was
the door
it was great fun having you with us tonight. I feel like a mass murderer, but you got me every time. And we want to thank also Charlie Rice and This Week Magazine for allowing us to use the Selena Mead Mysteries. And we're all going to be seeing you on your CBS special in January.
Thank
You know
you.
the date yet?
No, we're taping it, and I'm very, very fortunate to have Zero Mustel as a guest. and
Oh,
I'm
wonderful.
thrilled, yeah.
Well, we'll be looking for that, and we'll be right back in just a moment. Now, this important message.
Ready for a break? Try something different for a change. Turn to Salem Filter Cigarettes for a taste that's springtime fresh.
Turn to Salem, you'll enjoy that springtime taste. Turn to Salem, for a taste that's springtime fresh.
Discover Salem, the largest selling menthol cigarette in America. Salem brings you rich tobacco taste, menthol soft flavor. Salem flavor refreshes your taste.
Try something different for a change. Turn to Salem, you'll enjoy that springtime taste. Turn to Salem, for a taste that's springtime fresh.
Next week, our special guest is going to be Soupy Sales. We're all getting into Mr. Cobb's belt. Look at that. We all did it. 5 people and 1 fellow's belt. So long, everybody.
I've Got a Secret has been brought to you tonight by Post Cereals, the cereals that make breakfast a little bit better. Post Cereals from General Foods. They're here, a new season of comedy for Andy Griffith and Hazel. Andy returns in just half an hour, followed by that indomitable maid, Hazel, starring Shirley Booth. Enjoy both in color on the CBS television network. This program was pre-recorded. This is John Cannon speaking.